Hi there, welcome back to Give84 Gaming. In this episode I want to go through the games that I've played in 2020. A little history behind my tower of games. So at the moment I'm sitting at, I think it's 40 games played this year. I started to record my gaming and started posting pictures on Metal Jesus' Facebook page. And through that, I started to get like a lot of comments and a lot of engagement within the gaming community. I think most of them are mostly in America, but that ultimately led me to start doing my own channel, which I'm doing right now. And yeah, just to jump straight into it, I'll go back to the first game that I played at lockdown, the first game that I recorded, which was Area 51 on the PS2. So I played this one because I remember seeing it in the old PlayStation 2 magazines, and I thought it looked really cool. And then eventually, at the start of lockdown, I thought I want to start playing some back catalogue games, and this was the first one I went for. It's a pretty cool game, and unsurprisingly, with aliens in it and revolving around Area 51, we've got Mulder from X-Files, David Duchovny. He plays the main part in it. You've also got Marilyn Manson, who plays a part, and when I finished the game I found out also Nolan North was in the game as well, which is pretty cool. So that was the first game we played. And then the next game is Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII. I really enjoyed this. I was a big fan of Final Fantasy VII, and just the chance to jump back into the world of Final Fantasy VII was brilliant. I did try this before and I wasn't that into it, but then I really sat down and gave it a good go, and towards the later parts you get to see all the familiar cast coming back, and yeah, it's really cool. Final Fantasy VII, Dirge of Cerberus, it's a cool game. I definitely recommend giving that a go. The next game we've got is The Conduit on the Wii. It's a first person shooter game. Utilises the Wii remotes really well, and it's got a pretty cool story. The ending leaves us in a bit of a cliffhanger, so I'm looking for the second one, so hopefully I can grab that at some point and finish off the story. But Conduit on the Wii was really cool too. And then this next one is a game I've always wanted to play again, and with all the time we've had recently, so I managed to get through it, which was Beautiful Joe. Brilliant game. Artwork in this game is stunning. I nearly put this one onto my other video, which was best box arts, because I think the box art on this is stunning. I think the artwork in general is brilliant. The gameplay is pretty hard. It's a hard game, but it's worth it. You feel the reward of finishing the game. And on the PS2 version, you get to play as Dante from Devil May Cry, which is cool. Just throw them away. Next game is a game, one of my all-time favourite games, remastered this year or last year. I think it was last year. Resident Evil 2 on the PS4. Absolutely brilliant game. This is how you do a remake. This game is fantastic. The second game, the Resident Evil 2, sorry, on the PS1 was brilliant, and it was a game that brings back a lot of fond memories. But to play it all HD, built up from the ground, it's just brilliant. It's absolutely stunning. If you haven't played Resident Evil remake, then you really need to give that a go. The next game here is the first racing game on the list, which is Burnout Revenge on the Xbox. So all these games here I've completed the main campaign, same as this. I've completed the main campaign. I got up to the Elite ranking, and the game is so cool. I'm sure you've all played the Burnout game before. Fast, furious, big crashes. Brilliant game. Definitely recommend it. I think the third one was maybe my favourite Burnout game, but Burnout Revenge is top class as well. Next one is another game from the PS1 that I never gave a go back in the day, but I've decided to give it a wee shot, and it is Ridge Racer Type 4. So back then I was playing Gran Turismo and Gran Turismo 2, and this one kind of slipped me by. But it was really cool. I only did 2 of the campaigns in this, which was the French one, and I believe the Japanese one. They went in the Pac-Man car. It's really cool. Nice looking graphics for a PS1 game. It's also got a Ridge Racer high spec demo disc in there, which is cool as well. Next one, classic series. I'm sure everyone's either played this or played one of the games in the series, which is Zelda Twilight Princess. Now, I've really enjoyed this game. Ocarina of Time is probably my favourite overall Zelda game, but this one really kind of brought me back to kind of Ocarina of Time a little bit. I think the graphics are really cool in this. I think the graphics in Wind Waker are really good as well, but I just like the kind of dark tones in this game. It's really good. Recommend this one for sure. This one we've got another remake from PS1 game days, and again I mentioned it earlier on, one of my favourite games of all time, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Brilliant game, and just the possibilities of this game going forward in the next parts is going to be stunning. I think if they can, recently with Final Fantasy 15, I really enjoyed the open world of Final Fantasy 15, and I think if they can incorporate that into Final Fantasy 7, where you get to run around going from Midgar to Calm, and then up to the Chocobo Ranch, and then over Midgar's Zolom, and all that sort of stuff in the Final Fantasy 15 kind of world would be stunning, and I'm looking forward to playing the next part of Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And this is just so cool, so good. And then the next one, actually it's 3 games. Let me just get them all down here, because they're not on a pile. So this is the next 3 games that I played, all one after the other, and I missed out on these games when they first came out, but it was recently available on the PlayStation Plus. It was free. It was BioShock Collection, so I played through all 3 of the BioShock games, and I can't believe it took me so long to play these games, because I'm absolutely in love with them. From the first game, discovering Rapture and all the splicers and the story behind Rapture was just so involving, and then got the chance to jump back into Rapture as a big daddy in BioShock 2. I was so excited to get back into Rapture, and it's a great game. A lot of people say it's the worst out of the 3, but I still really enjoyed BioShock 2. And then BioShock Infinite. This game is phenomenal. I didn't think they could have topped BioShock, to be honest with you, but with the world of Rapture, but the world of oh my god, what's it called now? Columbia was brilliant. And BioShock Infinite, I did actually manage to get the Platinum Trophy on it, because I was just so enthralled with it, and every playthrough I played was just brilliant. I didn't feel like it was a drag or anything. I just enjoyed playing through it a couple of times. Next one here is a little forgotten kind of game, but I loved it, and I've only played it this year again, and it is The Suffering. The Suffering is a brilliant horror kind of game. There's a lot of it that kind of reminds me of like Clive Barker kind of inspired baddies, inspired monsters in it, but The Suffering is absolutely brilliant. I'd love to see this game get a remake. I know there's a part 2, and I've still got my eyes out for that. I want to play the second part as well. The next one we got, I've not played many of these games in the series. I think I played 1 and 2. Yeah, 1 and 2 I've played for sure. But then I played Halo ODST, and I really enjoyed this. It's got a great voice cast in it, and Nathan Fillion's in it as well, with I believe Alec Baldwin's in it, so 2 guys from Firefly, and then that woman from Battlestar Galactica, but I can't remember her name, the blonde woman. But yeah, the voice casting this is brilliant, and it takes part between, I think it's Halo 2 and Halo 3. It kind of bridges the gap between there. But obviously you don't play as Master Chief, you play as Buck, I want to say Buck. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I really enjoyed this. The next one here, again, I played it on the PS4, the HD remaster, so was it remaster or remake? I definitely opt for that version rather than this version, but this version is still a classic and brings back so many good memories, and it's Shadow of the Colossus. So Shadow of the Colossus is a fantastic game. You just go around beating up these big colossi. But yeah, if you do have the chance to play the PS4 version, I would definitely recommend that over the PS2 version. But the PS2 version is still just as good. A little bit janky, but still really cool. So this here is a part 1 and 2. My friend's got part 2 at the moment, he's still playing through it. It's The Last of Us, and then The Last of Us Part 2. And that game got a lot of hate. I personally love it, I think it's fantastic. I think obviously with the part with Joel dying, really rubbed people the wrong way, but I thought it was so well done. I know a lot of people don't agree with me on that, but I just think it was. I think in that world there's not going to be like a big beautiful death scene or anything like that. I think it was going to be as brutal as it was, and I think it really fits the story, and then it drives on the story for Ellie to go and get her revenge. And obviously from the other side of the story, you find out the motives of everyone else. But I mean, it's just a great 2-parter of games, and we'll see what the third one holds in store if they do make a third one. The next one here, so let's get them into order, is another trilogy of games. I played these, I didn't play these one after the other, I played one then played a couple of games after it, but I'll show them off as the trilogy, and it's the Dead Space trilogy. And these games are absolutely fantastic. The controls and the graphics and the sound design and everything is top class. Dead Space 3 gets a little bit of stick, but personally I thought it was really good. I really liked Dead Space 3 really ups the graphics and the sound design, and it's just fantastic. And the way it kind of branches out into different missions and all the rest of that sort of stuff. But yeah, Dead Space trilogy, definitely recommend playing through them. This one here is a little bit of a sleeper hit for me. I wasn't expecting much from it, but I really enjoyed it. It's a top class game, and it's GoldenEye on the Wii. Like I said, I didn't expect so much from it, and I know it's not a remake, it's not a remaster in any way of the N64 classic, but it does pay tribute to that. Sorry. I mean, from the starting mission where it kind of zooms in at the dam, it's almost like the N64 version, and it just wears its what do I want to say? I don't know. It's a really strong homage to the N64 version, I think. It goes its own way, it's got its own missions, it's got its own difficulty, different objectives and everything in the game. But it knows where it came from, is what I'm trying to say, kind of, and it's brilliant. Really enjoyed it. And I just saw recently, Carol's Room 70, he picked up the GoldenEye box version with the golden controller for £4, which is an absolute steal and a great little package. So this game here is the only game on here that I've not finished, but I do have a reason for it. It's because it's pretty hard, and I'm waiting for Lockdown All to be over so my friend can come around and help me play it, because he's really good, pushy, really good at these games, and it's Mario Sunshine. I love playing this, I love putting it on. I think there's missions in it where the flood backpack gets taken off of you, and it's more kind of classical kind of Mario levels, and they're just bloody hard. They're just so hard. So I need my pal to come over, help me with them, and progress a little bit through it. But I need to put it on again soon just to give a wee blast myself. Next one here is another PS4 game. I remember playing, so I played a few of these games, and I really loved the third game. The third game I platinumed actually back in the day. The fourth one I didn't go on with so much, but Far Cry 5, I think it's brilliant. I love the world in it, the music, the gunplay. I think Far Cry 5 is absolutely brilliant. Like I said, third one, I love the third one, it's probably my favourite one. The fourth one, I need to give it a go again because I remember playing it for a little while and I just kind of dismissed it. But Far Cry 5 is a stunning open world first person shooter, and the story is really cool. The main baddie, the father, he's just really a great main bad guy with his brothers and his sister. It's just a great game. Next one here is another game that passed me by when it first came out, mostly because it was always compared with God of War. It was always touted as a God of War rip-off, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, it does hold a lot of God of War influences, but it's a great game in its own right. It's Dante's Inferno. It's a brilliant game. I mean, the graphics in it and the locations that you go to, the different levels of hell as you go to look for your wife. It's just brilliant. It's a great game, and I don't know why I left it for so long. I think it was because everyone said it was a God of War rip-off. But recently this year I've been playing games that have passed me by because I've read too much into reviews and things, but I thought now that I'm just going to play games that I want to play and I want to give a go, and that was definitely one of them. It's fantastic. And where is it? And obviously Jordi Slasher Gaming sent me the little Dante figure, so he goes with it and he's really cool. So hopefully we're going to see Jordi Slasher Gaming back on the tube soon. I think he had a problem with his YouTube account, so I think he's going to start it up again in the new year, which is going to be cool to see him back on and see what he's picked up and what he's done recently. Next game is another Xbox 360 game, exclusive, and this game was really cool. Took me by surprise. It's Alan Wake. It's a brilliant game. You play it as like a best-selling writer, and you're there picking up the pages of what's happened and piecing together the story. It's really cool. I really liked the mechanic in it of the torch and the gun. I thought that was really different. So you got to shine the torch on the baddies, the shadows, and then you can finally shoot them. It's really cool. I would definitely recommend to play this. I think there's a couple of DLCs you can get for it. And I think recently with Control, a new game that's been released, well, recently released on Xbox One and PS4. I think the Xbox One version has got like an Alan Wake DLC, which is pretty cool. In this game here I completed co-op with my son, because he likes shooting things and he likes all this kind of big bright humour, and yeah, he loved this game, and we're playing through the second one at the moment now and again. It's Borderlands. Borderlands is a fantastic game. It's so big, but I mean the second one is where I really fell in love with the series. I thought it was a brilliant game. And then Tales from the Borderlands is a really cool Telltale game, and Borderlands 3 is a massive game. But for me, Borderlands 2 was the best game out of the lot. But I did really enjoy this, and the DLCs are really cool. The Dead Island of Dr. Z, that's a fantastic. Zombie Island, Dr. Z, that's a fantastic DLC. But Borderlands is cool, and this one is a game also that I got a platinum trophy on a couple of years ago. Next one up, we've got another Wii game, and it's Epic Mickey. This is a really cool game. basically you start off as Mickey and you spill this magic thinner all over the Merlin's work of art, and you go into the world of, I can't remember what they call it, but anyway you're in this world and you've got to defeat all the ink blots, and you meet Oswald, the rabbit. So he was, as far as I can tell from the story, he was the first kind of character of Disney, and then Mickey Mouse took the stardom, so Oswald's a little bit jealous, but then you become friends in it, and yeah, it's a cool game. It's a really good game. I definitely recommend playing this one. Utilises the Wiimote and the wireless blah blah stuff. It's really cool. Next one here we've got is another racing game, and I've heard really good things about this. This and Blur. I don't have Blur yet, and I really want to get Blur. But this one is Split Second Velocity. It's such a fun game. It's got massive explosions, cool cars, fast action. It got really tough towards the end, but it is really good. And I think I'll try and go back to it and complete it in harder difficulties. Maybe even try and go for the platinum. But that's not going to be easy because it's a tough game. Next here we've got, so I'll get these two out together. Come on. Next up we've got an absolute legendary masterpiece of a game, and it's so good I've played it twice this year, and that is Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. For me, the better game, because I played it when I was younger, would be the Metal Gear Solid, just the original one. But playing through it again was a little bit tough because of the controls. So I got Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes for my birthday. Quite an expensive game, but if you do have the chance to play Twin Snakes and you've not played it before, any of them, then I would definitely go for Twin Snakes, because the controls are a little bit more user friendly, a little bit more updated, whereas the first one's very kind of controls are kind of archaic. They're not great, but I mean the story and everything, it's just a fantastic game. And I've heard that they're going to try, I think there's going to be a remaster of the game. I've heard like rumours on the web, but Metal Gear Solid and Twin Snakes, fantastic. For me, the original is always going to be the best, but the Twin Snakes is stunning, and it just brings it up, the controls, it brings them up to modern day. Next one's a game that completely passed me by back in the day, and I think it is a good game. It's a little bit slow. I don't know how else to describe it. I think the character moves a bit slow, but it's Ghost Hunter on the PS2, and it is really cool. It's funny enough, it's an in-house Sony game, Sony Cambridge I think it was. Yeah, so it's Sony's own IP, and nothing else was done with it, which is kind of weird, because I thought the main character, Lazarus Jones, I thought he was quite a cool, interesting character, quite a lovable dummy, but he was kind of cool. Great voice acting in the game, cool story. I'm just surprised they didn't do anything else with it. Maybe one day they'll go back to it, I don't know. Next one we've got is a classic series, and I love this game. I didn't know anything about it until I played it, and it just gripped me, and I went all the way through it. And it's Tomb Raider Underworld. Really good game, really tight graphically, controls are really good, the sound again is fantastic, and the story is pretty cool. Eventually you get to control Mjolnir, which is cool, and yeah, I'd recommend Tomb Raider Underworld. This was, I think it might have been the last game before they rebooted the series, and it's a good game, it's a good one to kind of end with, because it was really cool. If it was, maybe it wasn't, but I think it might be. Next one's another 360 game, So I didn't have a 360 back in the day when it first came out, so I'm enjoying playing the 360 and picking up games that I couldn't play before. But this game is Lost Planet, and again it's a really cool game. Nice graphically for when it was released. I liked the shooting. The shooting was really cool, and you got to go in the big. Sometimes you went in like these big kind of mechs. It's a good game. I definitely like to go and play the second and third part eventually. But yeah, Lost Planet, didn't mean it was alright. This game here is another remake for the PS4. So I've played 3 remakes on the PS4 this year, and they're brilliant games. And this one here is Ratchet and Clank. And this one here also I got the Platinum on, which wasn't too difficult, to be honest with you. Just had to play it through a couple of times. But it's brilliant, and I think it came out with the Ratchet and Clank movie. I mean, playing the game feels like watching a movie because the graphics are so good. It's just like a DreamWorks or a Pixar movie, but you get to control it. It's really cool. If you've not played Ratchet and Clank before, I would definitely go for that one there to start off with. Another one here, so our family, my brothers, myself, are big into our comics. My big brother more so, but I really wanted to play this one for a long time, and I finally stuck it on, and it was really good. Like the torture scenes are brilliant in it, and it's the Punisher on the Xbox. Graphically it's pretty good for obviously a PS2 Xbox era game, and the shooting's cool in it. Like I said, the torture scenes are brilliant. There's a couple of baddies in it that maybe a little bit obscure in the Marvel universe, but apart from not knowing who they were, it's a cool game. You get to see Black Widow and Nick Cage. Not Nick Cage, what do you call him? Oh, I can't remember his name. Nick Fury, Nick Cage, not Nicolas Cage, Jesus. But yeah, that's a cool game too. Next one here is another Wii game, and it's a strange case for a Wii game, but it's definitely a Wii case, sorry. It's got Wii inside it, and it's Pandora's Tower, and it's in a black case. Don't know why it's in a black case with black kind of heading around it, but anyway, Pandora's Tower is a really cool action kind of RPG kind of game, where you've got to go and save this girl by defeating many different monsters, the beasts of the towers, and tearing out the hearts and the flesh and taking it back to feed the girl, who is a vegetarian, but she has to eat it to survive and overcome the curse. Really cool game. I think there's a couple of different endings. I don't think I got the best ending, to be honest, but it is a cool game. Next one here I've raved about on my channel a couple of times, because I've mentioned it before. Because I'm getting a little bit older, I don't want games that take up too much of my time. I want to be in and out, finish a game, get through the story, enjoy it for what it is. More recently, I have been itching for a bigger game, but when I seen I got this game, I got one of these games on the PS Plus, one of the free, and it was Need for Speed Payback, and I had a wee shot of it downstairs, and I thought that game was pretty cool, so I came and stuck this one on. Sorry, I'm just going on and on and on. Need for Speed The Run, and this is a great game. Honestly, it's so good. I think it got like a 66 Metacritic score, which I think is criminally underrated, because I think it's really cool. I like how there's a story to it. I like how you have to get from one side of America to the other side of America to get the big bounty, the big purse, and a lot of people complained about the QTE parts, but I can only remember 2 or maybe 3 QTE parts in this game, and honestly it doesn't break up the game. I think it's quite cool the way they've incorporated it to kind of move the story on. We have to go from one car to the other car and then escape a city or something like that. It's really cool. I would definitely give it a go. Don't Don't pass it by. It's not a long game either, it's a pretty short game. Next one here is a hidden gem from Radical Reggie, and I believe Metal Jesus also said it was a hidden gem. I hadn't heard of it before, but I got it recently at CEX for, I think it was £8, and it's called Fear. It's really good. It reminds me a little bit of Resident Evil 4 in terms of the control scheme, with one notable difference is when you bring up your aim and it goes over your shoulder, you can still move around. Rather than bring up your aim, you're stuck, you're static. In this one you can bring up the aim and walk around. It's just a little thing, but that makes the control scheme a little bit better for me than Resident Evil 4 did. But yeah, that's a cool survival horror game. Next one here is another Metal Gear game for the 360. I think it was on PS3 as well. And it's made by Platinum Games, and it's Metal Gear Revengeance. And this game is so stylish. It's so cool, nice and fast and fluid. And Raiden as a main character is the kind of cyborg that he is now. Is just phenomenal. So cool. Music's amazing. Yeah, it can be difficult. The end boss is quite difficult. It's a bit fantastical. I think Raiden just beats up Metal Gear Race for the fun of it, like power slams him and stuff. But it is cool. I mean, for what it is, and tongue in cheek almost maybe, but brilliant game, effortlessly cool game. Next one here, this was a really old game on the PS3 that I went back to because I've heard a lot of good things about it, and it's based on a comic that I'm not familiar with. It's The Darkness on the PS3. It is really cool. It's a cool game. I think going back to it now, it's a little bit framey, a little bit janky, but it's cool when you get the darkness, the beasts coming over your shoulder, and you've got to eat the hearts of your enemies and things like that. It's pretty sick. I like it a lot. But it's so old that it doesn't even have trophies in it, which is weird. It's only £1, so definitely worth £1. Next one here is a game that I heard bad things about, but I was really itching to play a Final Fantasy game, and this one was Final Fantasy Crystal Bearers on the Wii. Now the reviews I did read of it, like I agree with the reviews, I think, but again, I agree but I disagree, because a lot of reviews say it's not a Final Fantasy, it's not this, it's not, but I don't think it's trying to be. It's trying to be something different. I liked the story, I liked the characters in it, I liked the world, but there's no turn-based action. It's just all with the Wiimote and you just throw things around. But I really enjoyed it, and I think it's something. It's not a long game either. It's just a nice kind of quick. It's like a diet Final Fantasy. I enjoyed it. Next one here is another 360 game that a lot of people told me was really good, and I agree. It's a fantastic game, brilliant game. It's Brutal Legend. Lots of cool cameos from legendary rock stars in it as well. The one thing I don't like about this, and I think a lot of people have voiced this concern, is the real-time strategy aspect, or the tower defense kind of parts of it. I get it, I understand why they're there. It moves on the story that you've got your stage, and then you've got the enemy stage, and you've got to win over the fans. But I don't know, it just kind of takes me out of the experience. I thought it was pretty similar when you're running around the free roam kind of bit. I felt it was kind of similar to like a Darksiders game, and if they just kept that rather than the RTS kind of part of it, I think it would have been a lot cooler, a lot better. But I did enjoy it. It's a cool game, definitely recommend it. And the world's cool, the Brutal Lands. The world is a great world to run around in. The next one here is a great game. I mean, it's a wonder, to be honest with you. It was made by one guy. It's on the PS4, I'm sure it's on a lot of other systems. It's Axiom Verge. So I've just finished this. I did a Let's Play and a live streamed my journey through this game. It's pretty solid. It's a Metroidvania game. There's a couple bits in it that were just really hard. I think there was one episode of my Let's Play. I think I did 7 episodes. I think one episode I was just running around because I had no idea where to go. But eventually I finished it. The end boss was solid. I had to cheese him because I just could not do him. But I did get it finished, and it was really cool graphically. Nice kind of 18-bit, 16-bit kind of graphics. Yeah, it's really, really good. Definitely worth a go. And then the last game I've finished this year, at the point of making this video, is Blink's the Time Sweeper on the Xbox original. Now, this is a cool game. I like it quite a bit. It reminds me a wee bit of like a Sega game. It's kind of Japanesey with Sega style kind of music in the background and the menus. The only thing that didn't agree with me on this game is the mechanics of the game. Is you have to kill all the enemies and then get to the goal, which is fine, and you've got to soak up the trash and collect gems to unlock time powers. The only thing that didn't agree with me was after maybe the 4th world, it all became a bit repetitive. I did enjoy it. I thought it was really good, but towards the end of it, I was kind of just wanted it to be finished, to be honest with you. But sorry, it's a good game. I really do enjoy it. It's a game that's, if you've not played, you should definitely give it a go. You might get bored halfway through it, but it is cool. Sorry, it's a good game. And that is all the games that I've played this year. The 2 games that I'm playing at the moment, because I always like to have 2 games on the go, are 2 games that again passed me by back in the day. And like I said earlier, I don't want to get into like big open worlds and games that are going to take me too long to finish. So for that reason, I thought I would start Final Fantasy 13. And I think I'm 12 hours into it, and I'm still to hit the open world part. But the game is really, really good. It got written off as well because it's too linear. But for me, that's fine. I like going through a story, and I like getting to know my characters. The graphics are brilliant and the music's beautiful in it. I like it a lot, and I know that Final Fantasy 13 2 and Lightning Returns are better games, so I want to get accustomed to the characters, accustomed to the world, and then move on to Final Fantasy 13 Part 2 and Lightning Returns. So Final Fantasy 13 is the one I'm playing at the moment in my game room. And then the game I'm playing downstairs on my PS4, I don't have the physical of it, I've got it digitally, but I've got the physical on PS3, and that's Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It's only cost me 25p. What a bargain this is. This game is phenomenal. This game is so good. The graphics, the world, the scale of it, fantastic. I can't believe this game passed me by as well. I think it's because I've never been that interested in the Assassin's Creed games. I remember playing one, maybe the first one, or the second one, I can't remember. And there's a part in it, if you've played Assassin's Creed, there's certain parts in it where you get dragged out into the modern day, and for me that breaks up the whole experience. I don't get it. I don't know why it's there. Maybe there's, I don't know, because I've not played them, like I said. Maybe it holds a purpose. Maybe there's story to go into or something. I just don't get it at the moment, and it breaks up the game. I've been playing through this with Edward Kenway on your big jackdaw boat. It's so enthralling. You know, I like it. I'm in the story. I feel involved. But then just to get dragged out, I don't get it. It's just that annoys me about the game. But being a pirate and your boats and going on the little islands and the caves, the smuggler caves, that's really cool, man. The naval combat, everything about this game is brilliant, except for getting dragged back into the modern day. at the moment that's just going over my head. I don't understand it, but I'm willing to deal with it to play the rest of Edward Kenway's story because it's so gripping. The game's brilliant. I can't believe I've not played this earlier. But yeah, they are the 2 games I'm playing at the moment, and those are the 40 games that I've finished this year. Let me know if you've played them, if there's any there that you need to play. Let me know of any recommendations that I should play. But yeah, thank you again for watching, and take care.